Hi friends, welcome back to the Weekly Tweek, the show that just can't quite crack the code for what a good thumbnail is. Please, just click on her videos. This week, New York is making headlines because of a Muslim that came out of nowhere. And no, it's not that. 34-year-old Zohran Mamdani, seen here auditioning for the R-rated version of The Bear, won the New York City mayoral election. Now, Mamdani won't officially take office until January 1st, but his inevitable reign has already been striking up some serious conversations about the future of New York. With about 9% of New Yorkers sharing that they would definitely leave the city if Mamdani is elected mayor. If this happens, it will be the largest exodus in US history. And those who stay can enjoy a life of only being coughed on 11 times a day instead of 12. Of course, this probably won't happen, at least not to the extent that the polls show. Already, billionaires who were supporting Andrew Cuomo during the race have changed their tactics by throwing money at Mamdani now. Bill Ackman, a billionaire who spent millions of dollars campaigning against Mamdani, just posted on X, "Now you have a big responsibility. If I can help NYC, just let me know what I can do." And Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, previously said Mamdani was more Marxist than socialist, but he added, if he becomes mayor, I will call him and offer my help. You know what? Let him. It's like the series finale of Danny Phantom, when Danny was able to wrangle up all of his enemies and convince them to settle their differences, to fight on his side and save the planet from the disastroid. Whether it is money tainted with the smell of tax evasion or money from Fred Rogers himself, as long as it makes hopping turnstiles obsolete, I'm here for it. Speaking of things that are obsolete, the Farmer's Almanac has just issued its last publication. Gone are the days of moon phases and gardening tips. Now we just have the weather app and whatever the barista named after a flower with a nose piercing can read from your aura. The decision to call it quits was made due to the increasing financial challenges of producing and distributing the almanac in today's media environment. I get it. I didn't even fully understand what the Farmer's Almanac was until last night when I wrote this script. Also, while writing the script, I was sent a video of Donald Trump at the Commanders game trying to lead the stadium of fans in the oath of enlistment.
Please raise your right hands.
Oh, they were raising their hands all right. And that one finger right in the middle of it. In case you live life outside of the construct of Google Calendar, it's Veterans Day. Trump wanted to make history by being the first sitting president to attend an off-season NFL game, but instead, he became the first sitting president to get both sides of an NFL stadium to boo at the same person. And now, since I want to talk about many more news topics, but I have just about ran out of monologue time, here is our new segment, Quickfire. Welcome to Quickfire, the segment where we spew a bunch of headlines at you real fast but with a beat to keep you entertained, like the iPad kid you hate to be. Dick Cheney is dead, we put balding to an end, and Border Patrol got a sandwich to the head. The thrower was declared not guilty, only charged misdemeanor. The agent was left real filthy, while lawyers argued harmless gesture. Found a dinosaur egg, Sydney Sweeney broke a leg, lethal boat strike from Pete Hegg. Seth, the jug problem is no joke. This will make strike 17, but Paige sees 7 tons of coke without a single fatality. Anthony Bridgerton, sexiest man as declared in People magazine. Jennifer Aniston, the shiny new man in her life, has hypnotized me. Smoking is bad again, Maldives have written in, no more tobacco for most of Gen Z. The worst kind of sin in your shopping cart bin, yet another dark scandal from Shein. The password is Louvre, this was just some dude and ICE agents are being rude. Bernice Garcia Hernandez, taking pictures of patrol car plates. The police were completely invalid when they locked her up for half the day. Say goodbye to Pelosi, Jenner is 70, museum for all the old mummies. Ancient Egypt is now being shown, but their history is being tampered. They just dumped the Rosetta Stone in the museum of the highest standard. This silly old bear gave Starbucks a scare as we fought for the silly old cup. You better beware, in the Balkans is where all the spiders are pulling up. Don't pull up a chair because there's nothing there. Wendy's can't make enough. If you see a brown bear in Japan, that is where they say to just crumple it up. Oh, and the Supreme Court isn't going to revisit the gay marriage law. This took a lot of effort. I'm gonna sit down for the next segment. Table? Sometimes it gets exhausting talking about the news, having to think about others and their actions, researching topics I don't know a lot about, educating myself on the happenings of those around me. And so I'm gonna take a small step away from everyone else and take a big leap towards myself in our next segment, things that personally affected me this week. I learned a new word this week, thanatosis. It's the scientific term for when an animal plays dead, which, by the way, is completely involuntary, just like regular death. Anyway, being the little sidetracking gremlin I am, I wanted to know the etymology of our word thanatosis. Turns out, in Greek mythology, Thanatos is a figure who represents death. Does the word feel a little familiar though? It should, because Marvel Comics' Thanos is named after it. I was living life thinking he was named Thanos because it sounded cool. Turns out, Jim Starlin put a little elbow grease into naming his characters. But wait, Lottie, didn't Stan Lee create Thanos? Nope, it was Jim Starlin, who also came up with the entire Infinity Gem storyline. But wait, Lottie, aren't they called Infinity Stones? Nope, not in the comics at least. They were originally called Infinity Gems. Something else with a cool name is the CEO of CBS, George Cheeks. Now, before we show you a picture of George Cheeks, I just want you to try to imagine what a man named that would look like. You got it? Okay, here he is. And that is how he looks in every single picture. Every single one. But someone that doesn't look the same in every picture? Me. Especially now, since this week I got my ears pierced. And before I share any fun facts about piercings, I'd like to point out that only one person this entire week noticed. And it wasn't my boyfriend, or my hair and makeup person, or any of my 3 roommates. It was a 2.5-year-old girl who wanted to know if it meant that my ears were married. Sadly, no, my ears are not married. They're not infected either, because just as you should with any piercing, I disinfect them twice daily with a saline solution. You could also use a homemade solution made up of equal parts salt and water. Salt water is also a good method of treatment for a sore throat. It's whatever your kid brings home from school season, and I just got over quite the cold myself. Part of me wondered if I had contracted pneumonia. Did I? Probably not, but I did spend copious amounts of time on WebMD comparing my symptoms. Turns out there are 3 types of pneumonia: bacterial, viral, and fungal. Bacteria is spread through water droplets coughed up from other infected people. Viral pneumonia is caused by a virus that you already have, like influenza or COVID-19. And fungal pneumonia is caused by breathing in fungal spores. All of this was pretty self-explanatory, but do you know why it's called pneumonia? The word pneumonia comes from the Greek pneumon, lung, and ia, disease. I've been really into etymology lately. Why is it called etymology, you ask? It also has a Greek origin, coming from the word etymos, which means truth, and logia, which means study of. Etymology is the study of the true meaning. Something else that's true, and what our wonderful editor shared with me while I visited her in Philadelphia, is that Philly had a long-running gentleman's agreement to not build anything taller than City Hall so that the statue of William Penn, founder of Pennsylvania, could always be seen. But in 1984, the proposal of 2 skyscrapers that would tower above City Hall sent Philadelphia into a tizzy. And at the time, 2/3 of the citizens of Philadelphia were opposed to the buildings reaching higher than dear Bill Penn. But of course, now the city is full of towering towers that loom over City Hall. And that's everything that affected me this week, or at least what I'd agree to say on camera, or what my producer would let me say on camera. And now I'm being urged to sign off before I start digging a hole. See y'all next week.